Hi, welcome. This is Metamorphosis Mentors. I am your host, Liz Michael. Hello, and welcome to Metamorphosis Mentors. We're so happy that you're here to join us. Deb, introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Oh, thanks, Liz. I'm really excited to be here. So I'm Deb or Debby Brannan. I'll go by either name, and I do coaching and consulting and facilitation of all things related to humans, humans that want to do better, like in their job, or humans that are dealing with transition in their life or are really struggling with confidence, but all things related to mindset, curiosity, coaching, and development of others. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and I think I probably am a very stereotypical Pacific Northwest girl.
So, what's your background?
So, my background is I have a really long history of working in the corporate world. The last many decades have been spent doing like learning and development, organizational development, leadership, those type of things. And so I still have a foot in that camp. And outside of that camp, I have my own external coaching and consulting business because I want to help people without the constraint of like, this is a performance management problem. This is the human issue. And before we are any of those fancy titles, we are people.
Yes.
And a mentor of
Okay.
mine taught me a mantra, people are people first. And that has stuck with me ever since then.
I love that. Excellent. So, have you always lived in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, I would say for 99% of my life, I have been in Pacific Northwest. I snuck out for a little bit many decades ago down to Southern California, but came back up here where we have 4 seasons, but not severe in any way.
Nice, nice. So that's great. Well, tell us about what brings you joy in your life and where you find the most energy in your life at this moment.
Oh, at this moment in my life, because that does change. So that's a good caveat to add there. There's a couple of areas. One is my family, and I love to spend time with my family. I love to be in the outdoors with my family. I have a grandson, even, which in the corporate world is kind of taboo to talk about because it implies age-related things. But he is
Ah,
my biggest joy.
love
So
it.
why shouldn't I talk about that, of
Absolutely.
where I am in life? And then within my work, what brings me joy is creating a space where people can just show up and be themselves and they can change their perspective. Or I love to say things like, well, if we stood over here and looked at it from this vantage point, what might it look like? And how
Right.
about over here? And when people can start seeing things in a different lens,
Mhm.
that fills my cup because that
Yes.
teaches me how to look at things differently as well.
So, what I hear you saying under the lines a little bit or between the lines is that you learn by helping other people learn.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've done a lot of teaching in the last like 2 or 3 decades, and they always say that you learn more by teaching others. And
I
so I have yet to have a client or a workshop where I didn't walk away with something or many things that I've learned.
Yes, I get it. Totally get it. And it's so hard when we're stuck in our brain in a certain way to help somebody get beyond that and help to them reach another level, or like you were saying, show it from a different side, different perspective, and well, what would it look like here? So, what are some tools that you use in order to help people do that?
I'm of a few. One that I've been using a lot lately, it seems, is curiosity. Which
Great.
doesn't really sound like a tool, but it is. And for some people that are really literal thinkers, I have them draw a ruler and I have it mark it from the 1 inch to the 12-inch mark. And I say, okay, when you are looking at this situation or dealing with this employee, for example, what's your curiosity if you could measure it on a scale of like 1 inch to 12 inch? And they might say, well, you know what? I don't really care. I need to fix the problem. Like,
Mm.
okay, so what kind of questions do you ask when you are at a 1 inch mark versus a 10-inch mark?
Oh,
And we kind of create some experiences around that. And I'm not saying that you need to be at a 12 with everyone. In fact, it's probably not healthy,
right.
but getting to know a little bit more about what's under the surface. takes you to like maybe a 3 or 4 or 5. So I use a lot of work around curiosity,
Great.
how to build it, and how to create it when you don't really feel it. You're like, I don't really want to know the inner workings of Liz's soul, right? I mean, okay, that may or may not be true, but what could I get curious about? Or what kind of questions would I ask Liz if I were, 2 inches more
Hmm.
curious? And that's where like perspective shift happens. So that is probably one of my most common air quotes tools that I use
Uh-huh.
because we have access to that anytime we want.
That's awesome. That's really great thinking and great processing tools. I love that. So, what are you most proud of in your life besides your family and your grandson, of course, but what other things in your life are you most proud of?
That's such a deep question. Couple things that come to mind immediately are you don't get to a certain stage in your life without have experiencing all sorts of things, the good, the bad, the ugly. And you can either let it completely weigh you down, and transition you to a person that you might not actually be that proud of.
Mhm.
And I feel like over the last many years, I've done a lot of work to try to not let that happen and take those experiences and still, like, where is there joy in this? Or where is there a lesson in here? And
Mm.
8 out of 10 times, I feel like I can do that more naturally now. So I'm really proud of that. And I try to instill that like in my adult children to this day. I don't think that ends there. And with people I interact with. So that's probably my proudest thing in there.
Those are life lessons that you take into your heart, right?
Right. Well, and I'm excited that in this point in my career, I'm still seeing a lot of really amazing opportunities and shifts in how I can still do the work I love, but closer to the way that fills my heart and feels a lot more authentic.
That's awesome. That's exciting. So it sounds like you are transforming as well.
Oh, always. I never want to say this is as good as I'm going to get. I never want to get to that. I just don't want to believe that this is it.
This is it, right? Yes. Hopefully we never arrive, right?
Right.
I want my whole vision of my life is I want to slide into heaven on two wheels and say, all right, I'm here. I did it. I don't want to take anything for granted. I don't want to stop life until my life is stopped.
Amen. I'm with
Yeah.
you on that. I love that.
So tell me, you have also been a participant in writing a book. Tell me about your book.
So I co-authored this with a woman who is actually my one of my mentors in very informally for gosh, I don't know, more than 20 years. I'm not
Uh-huh.
sure of the math on that. And we co-authored a book called The ABCs of Genius Leadership. And it is an ebook that is like a toolkit for leaders in business, whether you're like brand new to leadership or you've been there for a while. And it literally walks you through ABCs.
Yes.
Each letter of the alphabet represents a characteristic, a behavior, a trait of
Yes.
a genius leader. Because there's a lot of leaders out there, and there's good leaders, and there's great leaders, and then there's genius leaders. And
Yes.
so we created this book that each letter has a descriptor of the word, like A is for authenticity. So we provided a descriptor in there. Underneath it has a sample of it in the world that is easily, found that people are familiar with, and then some uh, actionable tips that you can take to build that muscle if that particular letter is not something that you're strong with. So it's a toolkit that you can just pull off the shelf, basically, the electronic shelf,
Right.
and say, you know what, I really struggle with demonstrating courage. What might I do? And you go to that page and you can get some tips and tricks.
Which reminds me, I need to read it again. Mary Lou
Yeah.
Martin, as you co-wrote with, is one of my dearest friends. and has organized my life and helped me to organize my life in more than one way, and has been instrumental in helping me move forward and giving me strength and recognition that I can do it.
Mm,
So I appreciate her so much. She's one of my biggest cheerleaders. And this book is spot on. I love how it's developed. I love how it's easy. You can take like one page a day
yeah,
and work on that, or one page a month and work on that, and be really a better person at the end of the book because of the different actions that you've taken in order
yeah.
to develop yourself better. It is not just for leaders in business, it is for everyone because we're all leaders of someone and something.
Mm.
I find it very helpful to be able to read this book and soak it in because sorry to say it's simplistic in the thinking. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean that in a really good way because it's easy to understand and easy to get the thought in your head and your heart and process that thought throughout to develop yourself better. So thank you for the book. I love it. Highly encourage people to read it.
Yeah, it was, I mean, one of the goals was to make it really easy, easily digested that you can say, what is it that I need today? And you open to that page and you get that dose. There's a self-assessment you can take before, after, during it to say, how well do I do these things? And so you could target it if you're like, oh my gosh, these top three are the ones that I struggle with the most. And I also look at it, what are the top three that you do that you can leverage to
Yes.
maybe support up the other areas that are not as natural to you? So the goal was to make it simple.
Great. Well, it's well done.
Great.
Okay, so that brought up a question in my head
Yeah.
because there's different schools of thought on it. Do you feel that it's best to find where your shortfalls are and develop those, or to find where your strengths are and to make those stronger?
You're right. There are different schools of thought on that. Um, and I sit almost in the middle. Like, I think
Okay.
you need to be aware. Like, are those shortfalls getting in my way? Are they impacting
Mhm.
myself or the people that I'm interacting with? Like, I'm not great at accounting. I know this is not the same example, but I'm not great at accounting. And really, the only person that's messing up ever is me. And so, what I do, I need to be aware that that is not my gift here on this earth. So I can either try to like take some classes or get better at it, or find somebody who can help with that. So then I can illuminate my strengths a little bit more, right? So if it's something that's not impacting others, like create awareness and what are your strategies to overcome it? If it's something that's getting in your way, you still need to leverage your strengths. Don't lose sight of those gifts that you have because that's the difference maker. And is there something there you can do to leverage to at least shore something up that is troublesome in
Yes.
that area?
I think that's very wise because there are people who can fill our gaps, and it's unrealistic for us to think that we can be it all. We can't.
Mhm.
That's just not that's a God.
Mhm.
So we have to make sure that we are working on what we do best and where our wheelhouse is. That's what gives us energy and doesn't suck the energy out of us. So if we can find people to walk alongside us and take care of those things, like you said, like accounting and things of that nature, then it gives us more time and energy to do the things that we do well and we enjoy and we are fed from. And I think that's really important to recognize the weaknesses and the strengths, just like what you
Oh,
said,
yeah.
and maybe find people to partner with, because likely that those accountants that you have helping you are lacking in other ways where you are strong, and maybe you can walk alongside them and help advise them in that regard.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that one pitfall I think people run into when they take an assessment and they say, "Oh, here's my weak area," they just turn all of their energy into this fun little thing that they're not so great at it. And they drop all this other greatness about them.
Right.
And you're like,
Right.
hold on. So that's
Yes.
where a lot of time I spend time coaching, and it's not about fixing that problem necessarily. It's about hold on, let's balance it and manage it.
kind of look for a hack for that problem.
Exactly.
And whether
Exactly.
that's someone to do it for you, or whether it's learn how to develop systems to help you get through and break through that problem.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, what do you find most challenging for your clients who you coach? What is there something that is the most challenging that you see over and over again? Or are there things that uh, kind of one-offs that you see everyone has their own little quirk type things, or a combination of both?
Combination. But I would say out of the gate, the thing that people often come to me or come to coaching for is they're struggling with a lot of things. They're managing a lot of messiness and a lot of tasks. And they'll self-diagnose that it's like, I just have too much work to do. It's too busy here, which is true. But underneath it, there's something else going on. And so at the surface level, they're like, hey, help me with time management, or help me tell my boss I can't carry this load. Which at the end of the day, but that might not be the fix at all. Underneath it is, am I spending my time and attention on the right things that make the difference? Or am I chasing a task list and
Mm,
check marks all day long? So
right,
that
right.
is, I'd say that is one of the things. And then if you boil it down even further, frequently it's confidence.
Yes.
And in today's world, a lot of people will call it imposter syndrome. And I think that's part of it in there, but that whole piece in there gets an hour away. So, and I say hour because I carry the same challenges, right?
Yes.
And having people, again, goes back to what you said a moment ago, focus on your strength area.
Yes.
Like, let's focus on there. Let's not lose sight of that. So you have your joy, you have your strength, you have your wins. And what can we use in there that helps us with this other stuff in here that we don't feel so comfortable about? And then the last area I would say that is a pretty common denominator is people dealing with transition.
Mm.
And it can be any kind. They're like, I'm retiring next year. I don't know what my life is going to look like. Or I want to promote to a new level. Or I just promoted and I don't know what mindset shifts are necessary here. Or I'm an empty nester, or I'm blending a family for the first time. I mean, it's all over the board, but all sorts of transition.
Yes. Okay, you said a few things I'd like to go back and revisit a little bit. One of the things is that when people are talking about how busy they are and how this and that and that and this, it really is something that we create. Yes, our lives are busy, but every time we say, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, anything that we repeat over and over again, every time we say it, we hear ourselves say it, and it becomes belief. Not to say that people aren't busy, we are busy. But instead of focusing on the busyness, to focus on maybe what you're getting done instead of the busyness
Mhm.
might be a helpful tool to make that transition in our mind. And then you were talking about transitions in life. It cracks me up because it's kind of like we expect there not to be change in our life. We want everything to just stay the same. Oh my goodness. I don't know where we got that, but that is not going to ever happen to anyone. Life is full of changes. The only thing that never changes is change. And
Exactly.
so we can either resist it or we can learn to go along with it and embrace it. It's our choice.
Right.
We're going to change one way or the other. Do we want to go from point A to point B and make it a quick one? Or do we want to just struggle the whole way along and just draw it out,
Right.
make it painful and more of a struggle and more of a mental game that we have brought upon ourselves?
Yeah.
The choice. But the simple little things that we tell ourselves many times are the things that are getting in our way.
Hmm. I use the words together often of yes and. Yes, that was great, and now it's changing. Or yes, I'm sad that that's not the same anymore. And so I use a lot of yes and.
I love that. Yes.
in my work.
And that's very important.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about uh, what things do you want to bring to the table today? Is there something on your mind that you'd like to share with our audience?
Um, I would say something that I is really important to me, and I've tried to dig into and learn a lot more about in myself and others. So I always have like books and resources and podcasts everywhere I go, to just soak in more. And it's around the topic of mindset. And you said something a moment ago about like busy. Like if my mindset is, oh my gosh, I'm so busy, I'm never going to get things done. I am like inviting that into my world.
Absolutely.
And so mindset is just like, do you even know what it is? Can you at any given moment, can you pay attention to like, hold on, my mindset is I'm feeling chaotic or I'm feeling stressed. And basically, if I am I inviting more in? Or do I see potential and possibility?
Yes.
And also, what is the win in this? One of the things we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a moment, but with the metamorphosis retreat, one of the my main topic is going to be around like something that connects to mindset, and that's finding like joy or finding happy in those moments that do not feel joyful or happy in
Yes.
there, because it is the difference maker for your not just your mental health, but your physical health as well.
It is. It really is. And we can find joy even in struggles. I know that those don't normally go together,
Right.
but we can if we choose to. And one of the things we're going to be doing at Metamorphosis Retreat, let's talk about Metamorphosis Retreat a little bit, if that's okay. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is we have 5-year gratitude and prayer journals that we will be embracing and helping people learn how to start using. Can you tell me why it's important to have gratitude and to focus on gratitude each day, and what game changer that can be for you?
Yeah, I don't want to spill the beans on everything I'll share in the retreat, but I can tell you a couple of things about it that I've personally learned is when things are dark or challenging or tough, call it what you want.
Right.
If you cannot see any other thing, that is just it's paralyzing,
Yes.
and it is just so dark there. And so the ability to be able to say, okay, I'm not grateful for this. And you name the thing, right? Whatever the thing is that's weighing you
Right.
down. Like, I'm not grateful for that. Okay, you don't have to.
Yes.
But
Yes.
what can you be grateful for in the experience, or maybe the people you've connected to, or what you've learned in it? I learned a long time ago, gosh, a really long time ago, somebody snapped me out of a really dark place that honestly, not only could I not see my way out of, I became so comfortable there. I'm like, why would I
Yes.
want to even see anything different? I needed it to validate how terrible the situation was by staying and circling that drain. And so one day, a woman told me in the midst of a very dark period for me, she said, Debbie, do you even want to feel better? And I said, why would I? I look back at that now and go, oh, wow. But
Yes.
later that day, after I thought about it for a while, I thought, oh my gosh, I do not know my way out. I do
Yes.
not know my way forward.
Yes.
And so, but I want to.
Yes.
And so I started then kind of seeking a little bit. And it would be something like, well, my favorite song was on the radio today. That's something.
Yes.
Or my coffee was just the perfect temperature. That's something. It was not big, giant things. And I still was like grieving or whatever. And I could do that. And I could start seeing my way out. And so I try to look at mindset a lot, and then kind of like, let's challenge it. Let's ask it some questions that has us looking a little bit further about what am I what am I grateful for today? Well, I'm grateful that I get to talk to Liz, or that my internet's working, or and then you can go for the big stuff as that
Yes.
shows up. But you can't get to the big stuff if the little stuff isn't even acknowledged.
Boy, that's a really good point. And I love, love, love the name of your talk at the retreat. You want to share that with everyone?
Oh, wait, I'm the shortened version, or yeah, because I think I called. We changed it so many times. I think the
Joy
joy anyway.
anyway.
Yeah, and then there was a longer part of it, but joy in,
Yes,
and it's because in the midst of whatever's going on in the world or your world, you can still find joy
yes,
anyway.
yes.
And that is really a lesson I've been working on for probably a decade.
It's a life lesson, isn't it? I mean, we should maybe work on that all the time.
Yeah, so it ties really well into like your gratitude journaling and everything like that. My take on it and how I wandered into it is just a different route
Yes,
into doing it. That intentional practice trains your brain what to look for.
yes.
And if you train it to find all the dark and the dreary and the ridiculousness, you will find it. But you can also train it to find the little nuggets that will feed us.
Bingo. I think that's it right there. That we have to train our brain. And I don't feel that people recognize that as being a thing.
Right.
That we are training our brain one way or the other. Well, whether we recognize it or not, we are training our brain. So just to work on training our brain in a particular way toward the gratitude and the joy and the thankfulness that we have each and every day. It is hard sometimes to find even the smallest nuggets. I've been self-pity times in my life as well. I get it. Totally get it. I'm not saying I have it accomplished. I don't. I would like to say I do, but I don't. I don't think anyone does 100%. But each day is another challenge and another opportunity to be able to excel in that area of gratitude.
Well, and that's why I think building a habit to do it. There's a lot of research on habits and building the habit. So even when you're not feeling it, like I might not feel like going to the gym, but if I
Yes.
go to the gym, I will eventually start seeing results. So
Yes.
the same thing with finding gratitude or happy or joy in there. You train your brain and you're like, well, I don't really feel it, but yeah, I can recognize it at least. It's sitting right over there. Over time, you'll start seeing the results because you're practicing the art of looking for it.
I love it. That's just full of valuable information. I love that information that you've just shared. So tell me, now this is going to take you a second because I haven't warned you about this one.
Okay.
Tell me something very funny that's happened in your life that was either your most embarrassing moment or one that brought you so much joy and made you laugh so hard.
Oh gosh.
Take your time because
I know.
that's a mean question just to throw on somebody. Oh, let me share one with you while you're
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe it'll help. So my husband, we were at a Christmas gathering, a bunch of people. It was a business type of gathering, and it was at a park and a big lodge, and had all the kids and grandkids of the people there. They were there to see Santa Claus because Santa was going to show up. My husband was being a Santa's helper that day, and we had him showing up in the back of a sleigh, even coming down the long lane. It was just picturesque all the way around. He had the most beautiful red velvet suit, and he had dressed the part, had sprayed his large beard white, had sprayed his eyebrows, his hair, and just looked the part to the T. So exciting and so fun. He walks in, of course, the kids just go right to him, and they just he can't walk because they're just hanging on to him, won't let him go. Just precious sight. We're all just standing back watching and just enjoying the moment. And so then he's trying to walk down probably 50 feet to the end of the area where we were in order to have a seat so he could sit down and talk with each of them and have a picture taken with each of them. And as he's walking down, his pants fall down. And I was too far away to do anything about it. Plus, there were a lot of kids in the way. And I had a fear because as he was getting ready, he said, "What should I wear under these pants?" And I said, "Well, whatever you're comfortable with." And yeah, so he was talking about just wearing his underwear or wearing some shorts under him. And I didn't stay around to see what he wore. And so my greatest fear was, that he didn't have shorts on. Luckily, he had red shorts on, but he could not walk. His pants were falling down so far. He had his legs apart walking. I have never laughed so hard in my life. And this one little girl came running back to her parents who were standing beside them and said, "Mommy, Mommy, I just saw Santa's panties." It was so absolutely hilarious. And nobody got a picture of it because we were all laughing so hard. And I can't believe no one got a picture of it. But that's the way it was. It was just hilarious. And so that was one of the funniest things that makes me laugh to this day.
That is so funny. That's a great one. That's a great image right there. I feel like I've had so many of these, but I couldn't really sort it until you heard the story. I don't know if you want to do a story about underwear, but it led me
Okay.
to this. Um, many, many, many years ago, my father used to swim. He was an avid swimmer. He swam every day, a mile, 1 to 2 miles every day at the lap pool. And every year on Labor Day, he would swim the Columbia River Channel, which
Oh,
in Columbia River is the river that separates Oregon and Washington.
yes.
And in the location they do this, there's this big event. Hundreds of people come from all over and they swim. They get dropped off on the Washington side of the river and they swim about 1.25 miles to the
Uh-huh.
Oregon side. And it's very cold and the current is not always pleasant to deal with, but it was something he did every single year. But something about my dad also was that he loved to wear Speedo,
Yes.
little teeny tiny swim shorts.
Yes. If you're a
Even
swimmer, that's the thing, right?
in the era, there was an era for that, and even
Yes.
beyond that era, he continued to wear them. And I took my children up to go up to the cross channel swim one year. And we're standing on the beach area where the swimmers all get out. And my youngest daughter was about 4 at the
Uh-huh.
time. So that's important to know just from a child's brain and about their height that they are.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So my dad gets out of the water and we, greet him with a towel for him to wrap around and, warm up a little bit. And we're standing there and it was him and my stepmom, Judy, and my children and I, and my youngest daughter, who's, waist high, she's looking at grandpa and she's looking up at him and she's looking at me and she's just looking at people just over and over. And finally she interrupts the group and she said, "Why is grandpa wearing Judy's panties?"
Excuse me. Oh my goodness, that is so funny.
Because in the child's eye, right? Because she
They
sees,
were little.
right,
Yes.
they're little. And she'd seen other gentlemen get out of the water wearing more traditional swim trunks.
Right. Right.
And grandpa was wearing, he thought, grandma's pants.
I love
And
that.
he was very embarrassed, but we said, well, I mean, you've chosen to wear this. And you want to know what? He never changed. He continued to wear them as long as he swam well into his 70s.
I love it. That's great. Oh, I love that story.
And
That's
we still laugh about that. My daughter has this really vague memory. She doesn't remember like the setting, like why she saw this or why we were there, but
right.
well, now she does because she remembers we tell her the story every time.
Right. Oh, that's so
But
sweet.
talk about perspective.
Right. Right. It's what we all have a different picture of what we're seeing, right? Oh, thank you for your time today, Deb. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that you want to make sure that we get in?
I don't have anything specific other than I just really want to continue the path of just helping people just be the best version of themselves in work and life. And I don't think you have to separate the two.
I love that. And so you do have coaching spots available
I do.
if someone's interested.
I have a few spots open. I also do facilitation workshops. Love to
Great.
help teams also unite and work and play nicely together.
There is such a thing, right?
There is. There is.
I love it. Oh, so so exciting. And I really appreciate getting to know you better. And thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Liz. Glad for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you.